A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a very productive Tuesday, and now here's a sneak peek at our edition. The plenary sitting of the Senate has approved a draft law that will implement changes in the country's armed forces. People who own electric vehicles here in Rwanda have continued to call for more charging stations to be established across the country. On the international scale, victims of flash floods in northern Afghanistan say they have lost family and homes since heavy rains first struck in the region on the 10th of May. We're glad to have your company to you tonight, coming to you straight from the city of Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. The plenary sitting of the Senate has approved a draft law that will implement changes in the country's armed forces. Once enacted, the law will reserve the power to send weapons abroad only to the commander-in-chief of the country's armed forces and the appointment of the deputy chief of staff in the RDF. The law also includes an article separating the responsibilities of the Ministry of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff, as well as the establishment of RDF Military Health Service. Present during the sitting was the Minister of Defense, and he noted on other key changes in the RDF in the near future, including the expansion of the Rwanda Military Hospital and the construction of numerous military health centers countrywide. The senators took the time to commend the RDF for its many achievements over the years. The draft law, which is comprised of 38 articles, is now being examined by the Senate Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security. An international humanitarian law and new technologies workshop is now underway in Kigali, providing a platform for expert exchanges between military practitioners, humanitarians, and academic experts to raise awareness on emerging technologies used in warfare and the need to adapt the international humanitarian law to these new developments in order to restrict means and methods of the warfare and to protect civilians. We have more on this report.
The workshop has been jointly organized by the Rwanda Defense Force and the International Committee of the Red Cross, with the participation of Rwanda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Rwanda National Police, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, the Rwanda Space Agency, Rwanda's National Cybersecurity Authority, and the Rwanda Red Cross Society.
When someone is in civilian clothes and watched by a drone, one would really need human intelligence on the ground to make sure that this is a terrorist or this is a criminal or that's a simple civilian. And indeed, it's that margin of error and the automation of certain decisions taken not by a human but by a robot or by a machine that we're afraid of. And that is a very legitimate concern because of our experience across the world, from Afghanistan to the Middle East and in Africa, where we need to highlight, where we need to have these discussions.
Protecting civilians has been at the core of the Rwanda Defense Force since before its inception. And this is a principle its personnel carry with them wherever they are deployed, not just here in Rwanda.
So the objective of this workshop is to basically identify areas of collaboration with the International Committee of Red Cross to ensure that we analyze the effect of digital technologies on protection of civilians. And fundamentally, in our operational philosophy, we believe that we have to protect civilians wherever we operate, and therefore these digital technologies have to be assessed in the framework of their ability to be applied and employed, with collateral damage being at the forefront of our discussions. So we need to limit as much as we can collateral damage on the public wherever we operate, and therefore we need to discuss ways in which we can avoid this. And the challenges are quite enormous in operational areas, as you can clearly see in the different examples of operations that have taken place around the world. This is a very sensitive issue And the ICRC is very concerned about it, and that's why they discuss with security agencies in looking for ways in which we can limit collateral damage.
The workshop will last for 3 days, bringing together military officers with the ranks of major all the way up to brigadier general from countries that include Niger, Mali, Uganda, and the Netherlands.
Experts in the technology sector and various related institutions believe that increasing foreign digital investments is crucial for improving Rwanda's digital economy. Currently, the ICT sector contributes 3% to Rwanda's GDP, highlighting its significant role in the country's economic development. Olive Nete has the report.
During the consultative and validation workshop for the ongoing Digital Foreign Direct Investment Enabling Project in Rwanda, participants reiterated the importance of attracting and increasing digital FDI to boost Rwanda's digital economy. Alex Nare, the Chief Executive Officer of the ICT Chamber, emphasized that increasing investment in this sector offers numerous benefits, particularly for young people and various other sectors.
In terms of further down, how does that affect the economy? I mean, it creates jobs to start with, but also there's a skills transfer. We have a predominantly very young population. That means that young population is also not very experienced, and there's a smaller private sector for them to get experience and to be able to build. So you need to get some foreign investments or foreign jobs to come in for them to gain the experience that is needed for them to be able to fully contribute to the economic growth.
The Digital Cooperation Organization is currently working with Rwanda and various other countries in the program to promote this digital foreign direct investment. Manuel Bondi, the Chief of Digital Market Growth, reiterates on the role of development partners and other stakeholders in the implementation of policy recommendations.
We are involving all relevant stakeholders from the public and private sector. Obviously, the role of development institutions is crucial because they do have on-the-ground experience from other countries in investing in infrastructure projects, in attracting FDIs. They can also contribute with funding, which is crucial. The civil society can make sure that the policy reform remains inclusive, and academia can bring research and insightful thoughts.
Matthew Stephenson, the head of investment and services at the World Economic Forum, points out that initiatives aimed at improving and expanding access to connectivity attracts digital investments.
Once you have the right connectivity, it can unlock all the other activities. So really a lot of our work is talking to investors, asking them what would it take to increase more in digital infrastructure, whether it's broadband or others. And so we've been communicating some of those findings to the government. And that's actually what we're doing in the workshop today. It's to discuss all of the different policy options that were identified, including for infrastructure, but also for startups, also for finance, also for training, all these different areas that are really important to grow investment in the digital economy, and then identify what are the priorities.
The figures of the National Institute of Statistics shows that, in general, Rwanda's gross domestic product increased by 8.2%. Currently, the ICT sector contributes 3% to Rwanda's GDP, highlighting its significant role in the country's economic development. Esther Kunda, the Director General of Innovation and Emerging Technologies at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, notes that increasing investment in technology will help build a stable economy. In 2050, Rwanda aims to become a developed country based on the growth of the ability to compete with others. Achieving this requires the ability to compete in the economy based on modern technology, innovation, research, good infrastructure, methods to facilitate investment, and activities to improve the level of business and production facilities. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Rwanda is heavily investing in the digital economy through an initiative under the ongoing Digital Foreign Direct Investment Enabling Project. This initiative, which reflects the government's steadfast commitment to fostering economic growth, aims to attract foreign direct investment into Rwanda's digital sector. Esther Kunda, the Director General of the Innovation and Emerging Technologies Department, elaborates on how this digital FDI will benefit the country's economy.
Speaking about the digital FDI, what is the digital FDI and why is it so important in the economic development?
Thank you very much. Generally, foreign direct investment is very important to any country, and especially for Rwanda. This is where we get investment to develop different sectors, to make all the different bets that as a country we've made. Most of those bets we've made them based on foreign direct investment, and we've gotten partners coming into Rwanda to develop sectors like health, agriculture, construction, etc. So when we talk about digital FDI, what we mean is that we want to also increase and significantly increase foreign direct investment in the digital sector. So as you know, today the ICT sector contributes about 3% to our GDP, and this study is really about understanding what are the drivers of FDI in the ICT sector, and how we can accelerate and increase investment in the sector coming to Rwanda.
So why did the government of Rwanda prioritize this initiative in boosting the digital economy?
So we have a lot of initiatives that we are currently prioritizing. Some of them include and continue to see us and making sure that Rwanda becomes an ICT hub, which we've had this vision for a couple of years now. And then under that realm, you want to be able to attract the private sector to invest in, for example, the telecommunications sector. You've seen the impact they've had in enabling and reducing cost of calling, data, internet, but also services like mobile money came through the telecom sector, and that has enabled various services in Rwanda. We've also seen recently the growth of the business processing services, where we see, or global outsourcing services, where we see several companies now hiring Rwandans to support global companies, and this is very important because we're aiming, one, to create jobs, and then secondly, making sure that as we know, ICT is an enabler for different sectors. We have the right infrastructure in our ecosystem at an affordable price.
You just spoke about infrastructure, and when we speak about technology and everything related to that, there is also need to build the infrastructures needed to carry out those activities. Is Rwanda ready in terms of infrastructure and everything to host this upcoming initiative?
Yes, because first of all, I think if you look at our statistics in terms of connectivity coverage, we're already at more than 95%, and that's good. That means that we have coverage almost everywhere. What we are working very hard on is ensuring that we continue to reduce the cost of data for citizens, but also for businesses. And also, we have several initiatives around device financing, so that we can have more citizens having handsets that are ready for digital solutions on the market. One of the other elements that I could talk about is also around increasing usage, because you see government digitizing their services. We are also starting to work with private sector to also have digital products, have their services also online, and all these initiatives, I would say it's a good groundwork, but of course it's a continuous effort every single time to make sure that we have an enabling environment.
Coming back to the digital FDI, how is Rwanda partnering with DCO and also the World Economic Forum to attract the digital FDI?
So Rwanda has been a member of DCO now, I believe, for almost 3 years now. And we were among the first country that joined the Digital Cooperation Organization when they started. And some of the main activities that we look at when we started is as member countries, we need to make sure that we are creating business environment within those member countries. So this study and this ecosystem mapping is very important and is a start of that. We are part of the 4 countries that this study is taking place in. But also we have other initiatives that we are working with, and of course with the World Economic Forum we continue to collaborate. For example, we have the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution that is based here on emerging technologies. So we have a close collaboration, and the next step after this workshop is actually to identify key initiatives that will take about 12 months for us to start implementation. So this is not a one-day workshop or a 3-month activity, but we'll make sure that in the next 12 months we've started implementing these activities, especially that these are contributions from the private sector and the investors that have mostly invested in Rwanda already. So we want to see this partnership continue.
Thank you, Olive Nete, for that insightful interview. Now, people who own electric vehicles here in Rwanda have continued to call for more charging stations to be established across the country because leaving the capital city can be difficult for them. Kigali currently has 3 charging stations, and there are now 3,000 electric bikes and 400 cars, as well as another 1,500 hybrid ones. This is the reason investors have begun opening charging stations in other parts of the country as well.
The chargers are being installed, the infrastructure is being put in place. It hasn't penetrated to all the cities, but at least we have managed to put some charging infrastructure in some of the secondary cities like Rubavu, like Kayonza. Even though Kayonza is not a secondary city, but we have a charger in Kayonza. There is also in Karongi. So because of the investment, people are starting now to invest into the charging infrastructure to motivate and encourage people to use electric vehicles. Wherever they go, they are confident that whenever the power is reducing, they are able to recharge their vehicles.
Rwandan government has previously stated that the cost of transitioning to e-mobility and the adoption of electric vehicles will be around $900 million. However, the United Nations Environment Programme says transitioning to electric motorcycles alone, which is an important mode of transport, would save the Rwandan economy $22 million in fuel imports every year. By 2030, Rwanda is aiming to have 20% of its buses and 30% of its motorcycles and 8% of its cars electrified. On Monday, the Impala Band and its fans visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial located at Gisozi to commemorate the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi and honor the victims buried there.
The message of hatred among Rwandans through the songs and arts played a major role in the genocide against the Tutsi. These artists therefore say that this is one of the many reasons they decided to come together in the commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. We came to remember the victims of the genocide, but also we learned from our past history on why we should avoid anything that can try to lead us back into the genocide, but also use those lessons to enable us to protect achievements made in the last 30 years of the development journey. During the visit, the artists and their group laid flowers on the graves of the 250,000 victims of the genocide against the Tutsi buried at the Memorial Center, and young artists were encouraged to give a strong message of love and unity through their music because it reaches many people. The group that visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial Center at Gisozi was comprised of 284 people, including many young men and women who noted that the youth should preserve Rwanda's history and take the lead in continuing to build up the country. This report was prepared by Cedric Irakoze and read to you by Serge Nhore for Rwanda Television News.
And on behalf of the news production team, as well as the technical team, would like to thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News. Stay safe and have a great night.